इससे पहले कि आप बाकी क्लिप देखो बॉस, प्रेस द सब्सक्राइब बटन, प्रेस द बेल आइकॉन, बिकॉज हम यहाँ पे हमारी कॉन्वर्सेशंस के सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग, पावरफुल, फनी और यूनिक मोमेंट्स यहाँ शेयर करते हैं. PGX क्लिप्स, प्रेस सब्सक्राइब, प्रेस बेल आइकॉन. What have you found in the science part of, like in solving, in inventing this? I'm sure the first thing you do, okay, I'll give you a layman's perspective on what you would have done. Tell me where it needs correction or detailing, right? So you figure out you want to do this. Now you figure out, okay, what the hell is even air pollution? What is it made of? What are the particles involved? How small or big are these particles? What are the conventional ways in which you're filtering these particles already? And to what degree are these successful? So say a regular HVAC filter, which is an AC filter that people use, has a 40% success rate. Where is the 60% getting lost? Now, do I need an incremental innovation on existing technology to capture that 60%, or do I need a completely radical method of doing this?
You need incremental approach for the consumer one, but you need a radical approach for the societal one.
So yeah, talk to me about the science and the sort of the lesser known parts of the science and technology of this. Like, what did you innovate? What did you figure out in the science part of it?
So what became very evident is you don't have to build an air purifier, you have to build the whole stack. What I mean by stack is air quality sensors exist, they're not abundant, and they're all like have tremendous variation. Two sensors I buy from the same company will have different data points in the same location, right?
So they're not standardized.
I mean, they should be, but they're not reliable, right? And then you have to improve reliability of that. That's you know what baseline you're dealing with, right? If the baseline keeps shifting, you don't know what you're solving anymore.
Agree.
So first was that. Second is, air pollution is a spatial problem. It's volume of air in a space that needs to be cleaned, not like one particle that needs to be filtered. So how do I create the ability to not only visualize and measure, but also solve the spatial problem first digitally? Because when I know how this problem is, like what are the flow patterns, the rate of introduction, dispersion, etc., I can try to make sense of how to solve that problem. So sensing, visualizing, and auto solving, this falls under computational fluid dynamics. Then is filtration. Filtration is, whether you use our filterless technique or HEPA filter or activate, whatever. So some method to capture this. What product form factor to put this in? So
like, what is the physical shape?
Yeah, is it like a street lamp? Is it a tiny purifier like the Hive for a room?
Is it a pipe?
Yeah, is it a Mark II, which is our 6 feet tall filterless? What does it look like? Who's buying it? Where does it go? And then once you do this, how does the person build addiction that this actually works?
So then there's a product experience.
So then there's a SaaS layer on top of it. There's sensors, intelligence. Now it's gone too far with Hive. Like Hive is going to be so specific in the room that open the window to the left. Like it's crazy, the imaging on the product, right? So it's built the entire thing. And then, hey, this is the stack of the tech. And there's the stack on how to actually produce this tech.
Yeah. So like the assembly lines and the machines before that, right?
So what do we do in-house? What do we do externally? Where is it? Like there's a place where we've invested in a vendor site because I didn't want to wait 2 years to get the licenses. So I bought the machines, put it in the vendor site and amortized it over a certain production volume. So that helped us save the time and allowed us to build the company faster and get the product to customers faster.
Even for an entrepreneur, your challenges are very novel. Because you don't see this. Like I chat with entrepreneurs more and more now for my podcast. And you don't see this. Nobody's buying their vendor site and then putting the machineries and amortizing the cost. Nobody's taking that kind of risk because nobody's playing these stakes. You're playing extreme stakes. And bro, just the fact, मतलब एक आदमी ना $200 million सिर्फ product experience से बना लेता है कि मैं एक ऐसी चीज़ बनाऊंगा that solves for product experience. You were saying I'm starting from sensing and imaging, which is a hard physics problem, and then moving up to the prototyping of the filter, which is also a physics materials electrical problem.
How do you actually test it? So I couldn't buy a test rig. We built 9 test rigs over 5 years to build one that if you come to my office tomorrow, you'll get the crazy experience that, hey, the purifier works, I can see it, I see the dust cloud, I see the data, I can see the dust collected. For you to trust and for us to reliably know this works, there was no test protocols. All the test protocols were, hey, if you own this filter, here's the efficacy of the filter.
Wow. So just what the company says. I just have to believe that. There is no way of knowing.
There is a test only to test the efficacy of the filter. What do you do if it's filterless?
Oh, what? Right. And then you are going all the way up to building the SaaS layer, the product experience layer, which is the design and the code problem of it, right? And then user behavior problem. So it's a user experience problem.
There's also a whole cybersecurity problem because I deployed in the largest companies in the country. That data is sensitive. It can bankrupt the company if that data goes out. So the amount of diligence that goes into our SaaS product getting deployed for our SIM card in the device to be allowed to upload data to the cloud.
You're a crazy guy, brother. Have you been told? Are you married?
No.
No. That's insane. That's a leap and a half as far as an entrepreneurial venture goes, bro. I cannot imagine you, by any stretch of the imagination, understood that the problem is this wide when you started, and the fact that you've committed to it throughout. Because एक type का challenge होता है failure मिल जाना. Your challenge is, oh, I think I solved it. No, boss, there is a whole layer before and after you've got to solve, and it just keeps expanding, layer after layer, 1 layer, 3, 5, and then you are building an entire industry almost at that point, right?
You know, when we first raised venture capital, there's a there's a fund called, one of the smaller investors was not smaller, but one of the investors, a fund called Climate Angels based out of Delhi. So Vijay Shekhar Sharma and all these guys there. So Sumit, who used to run the fund at the time, they had gone out of their way, by the way, to get government approval to invest in our US entity. So they're very nice people, but he told to his LPs, Praan will expand the air purification industry in a manner not seen. And he saw it far before even I could describe it in those words. That he said air purifiers have existed. The stack has never existed. So for one company to do the stack and to say that using the stack now clean air is a reality everywhere, right? Because air is particles, of all sizes, pollutant gases, so your VOCs, carbon dioxide, which shows whether the air is stale or fresh, and then you have the moisture, which is humidity or humidification, dehumidification, which changes your experience of the air. Now, sometimes we do, people think, hey, you're consumer also, you're industrial also, you have a huge carbon capture plant also. It's the same shit, man. It's air. Whether I put it in form A, form B, form C, we do only one thing.
You're solving different scales.
Yeah, and different, there's a business has to eventually generate revenue. There has to be rate of revenue. Consumer generates every day. B2B generates over 3 months. They all have different cycles, but eventually it adds to revenue of the company. At the same time, scales impact, solves at different scale. We're doing the same thing, right? So often as people think Praan is you have a computer vision team, all they said, no, we never sell the computer vision, right? We built it so that I can sell you the other product.
Right. It's in service of the final output, which is clean air, which should be a fundamental right, which should be an obviousness in your head. And to serve that purpose, to make it cool, to make it look cool, to make it believable, to make it all those things, I have to do these things, right? Damn. Good job, man. So you were telling me, you figure out what the pollutants are, and the pollutants are carbon dioxide, moisture, you said organic or gases.
So particles are the pollutants, so particulate matter. Then you have volatile organic, so formaldehyde, benzene, all these, when you use perfume, these volatiles get released aerosol into the air. Then you have CO2, which is not a pollutant. It's a greenhouse gas, but at the same time, humans exhale CO2. So if we don't have ventilation in this room, over time the CO2 levels will rise. You'll start getting a headache. Again, it has tied to productivity, disease spread. So if CO2 is really high in the room, one person's coughing, everyone will start getting it because the air is stale, right? So all of these impact your indoor air quality. But then if you figure out how to deal with it indoors with a sorbent, now it's hey, but the planet is warming because of CO2. I have to remove CO2 from the atmosphere. Let me figure out a scalable way to do that. That's the fastest way to reverse global warming. That's where Praan's carbon capture work comes into play. Right?
And it's so accurate, brother, that even if you're not able to, touch wood, but even if you're not able to solve, let's say with Mark 2 or Mark 3 or whichever, the exact problem, because there is a modeling, there's a modeling question here as well, which is how possible is it to have a public-private partnership to install these things, and whether they will get stolen or whether they will get dysfunctional. Even if you're not able to do that, you've basically reshaped the imagination of solving this problem by doing it.
We proved it. We have patents on it. For whatever reason, if we don't succeed as a business, the solution exists for the world.
Exactly. You've upped the innovation level in this particular corner, very important corner, very unignorable corner that we happily seem to ignore, but you improved the possibility scape of it. And that's saying a lot at your age, which is 25, 26. Yeah, that's saying a lot, bro. People take 3 generations before they're able to change a single possibility scape. You've done it in 8 years of adulthood. That's a lot. Compliments for that.
No, I think we have an incredible team. If you see, they work really, really hard. I think I sell the story and all that, but I don't think this is not at all. And I keep iterating. It's not a one man.
And as
More
much as I
than
believe that,
200 people have like driven this, and crazy smart people to make it.
and as much as the credits go to your team, no doubt, but having that sort of vision, the courage, the pragmatism, the ability to run around and grind yourself through hell sometimes, to take rejections on your face with people you know understand lesser than you about this subject matter, right? When people don't see your vision, and to go through all of that emotional set is in itself a very formidable job to accomplish. Beyond this is the innovation and so on and so forth. I don't want to keep this in the zone of flattery, but I mean it from like, I mean it as a 29-year-old myself. Good job, very very impressive. अगर आप हमारी इन विचित्र अचित्र कहानियों का और किस्सों का और बातों का हिस्सा बनना चाहते हैं, तो आपको यहाँ पे PGX Clips चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि यहाँ हम पोस्ट करते हैं हमारी कॉन्वर्सेशन के बेस्ट, मोस्ट इंटरेस्टिंग, मोस्ट वाइल्ड, मोस्ट इंटेलेक्चुअली रेजोनेटिंग मोमेंट्स. So press the bell icon, press the subscribe button, spend some time with us.